And hello there again, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Sorry for the technical issues I was having. It is the DOUG and Johnny Be Good.
Why keep calling me Johnny? I'm never.
Well, because you did better than me this week. If you're old to the show, you know how this goes. If you're new, we do a recap of this past week. I sing because Cowboys lost. We go to the best and worst of this past week. We talk about some of the news that has broke during the last few days, since Sunday till today, and then we go to picks for this week. So this will be the legit video as long as nothing else happens. Quick recap from past week. The early Sunday games can all go to hell. Raiders beat the Bolts. Ravens destroyed the Bengals. The Bills lost to the Browns. Packers beat the Panthers. Saints got upsetted by the Falcons. Lions lost to the Bears. Oh my. The Giants lost to the Jets, proving that the Jets do own that stadium for the rest of the year. Chiefs lost to the Titans. Cardinals lost to the Bucks. Dolphins upsetted the Colts. I'm glad I got that one right. Steelers beat the Rams. My Cowboys, like I just said, lost to the Vikings. And the Seahawks did beat the Niners. I went 5-8. And for the season, I am 92, 57, and 1.
I went 7-6 and I'm 88, 58, 1.
Yeah, I'm a little bit ahead of you, but not by much. So this coming week,
I'm catching up more every week.
Yeah, that's the bad part. I hope we agree on get most of these games this week, so I don't have to worry. But since that, and by the way, we will be giving up a playoff update because there are some things that we need to discuss because some things have changed in the AFC. But first, since I did lose, it's time to sing the song I said I would sing this week.
I'll bring up the standings while you're at it.
I don't get why everyone wants to say he's gonna. I'm not bringing that up because this is gonna make me cranky, and I don't like to be cranky when I do my picks. Anyway, time for me to sing my song. And it's, of course, from the TV show Dinosaurs. Baby Sinclair, I'm the baby, you gotta love me. God help me, why did I choose this song? I'm the baby, gotta love me. Big purple eyes, I'm very proud of me. Especially when I hit my daddy with a frying pan. Frying, I'm the baby, gotta love me. First I whack you, then you shove me. Fly across the room, I like it. Again. Mama said it's too much sugar. Daddy is all perplexed. A, B, C, D, E, N, G. You never know what I'm gonna do next. Wanna see me make a rocket? Watch me put a tear in the socket. She lights up like a Christmas tree. Don't try this at home. Wee! I'm the baby, and you gotta love me. Everybody, I'm the baby, gotta love me. Big purple eyes, I'm very proud of me. Don't you think that every home should have one of me? Or three. Say jump on the head, and my daddy on the head. Run around the house when they tell me not to. I take every chance to make a poop in my pants. But I'm the baby, and you got to. Do 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 yeah, do da dee da 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 do da 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 dee da 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 do do do. I'm that baby, gotta love me. Don't you wish there were more of me? Daddy, mother, brother, sister, I'm the greatest baby in prehistory. I'm the baby, and you gotta love. I'm the baby, and you gotta love. I'm the baby, and you gotta love me. Gotta love me. Thank God that's over.
I only like the video for the song. Your performance was a solid 5 out of 10.
I'll take it. Now, of course, next week, if the Lions do beat the Cowboys, you guys get 2 songs. They're both anime songs. God help Johnny.
God.
God help Johnny on that one. And just to give
I have to do all suffering.
Yeah, you got to do all the shuffling, and just to give you guys a clue of what. And by the way, Brad, that's not going to happen. I think a lot of these people at ESPN are just wanting to say that just because of the fact of it's the it thing to do. And I didn't want to talk about it. Johnny knows what I didn't want to talk about it because I knew it would get a lot of dislikes on my video. But I may as well because it's going to be something that gets asked anyway. Kaepernick is having his thing on Saturday. You know, Lions, people representing the Lions, the Cowboys, Miami, and all 32 teams are going to be there, somebody representing them, to see this. Now, I don't think he's going to get signed because he hasn't played a real football game in, what, 3 years?
Yeah.
And
not yet.
All you're going to be seeing is him getting, what, passing the ball. You know, he's not going to be under pressure. He's not going to be getting hit. So it's kind of, to me, it's a waste. I said it last year, and I've been saying it for more than that. If he wanted to go play football and really get a chance to come back to the NFL, he should have went to the CFL, the Canadian Football League, or the Arena Football League for 1 year, and then come back. Because then at least then you could say, hey, there's actual footage of him playing in pads and all that. I'm sorry, I just don't think a team should sign him until that happens. Hell, he could join the XFL this year, and we'll see what happens. And before people say, oh, anybody who ever went there never succeeded, I like to point out, Kurt Warner was in the Arena Football League, and he's a Hall of Famer, right? And Warren Moon played in the CFL, and he's a NFL Hall of Fame. And hell, Chip Kelly, I believe, was it Chip Kelly for the Bills?
Rex Ryan?
No. The old quarterback from the late 80s, early 90s.
Jim Kelly?
Thank you. That's who I was trying to say. He didn't start in the NFL. He started in the other league, the USFL, before going to the NFL. And he's in the Hall of Fame. So believe me, you can go to another football, do well there, and then come back. That's what I would have liked to see done. I don't think he's going to get signed. If he does, it's going to be by a team who needs a quarterback desperately, or B, who wants to make money because people will pay to see him play or see him get hurt. Let's be honest, that's true. And that's all I got to say. I'd rather see him go to the CFL first or XFL Arena Football and see how he does a full season with pads and helmet, not just standing and passing and not getting tackled. That I could do that. Johnny, you could stand in there and just throw passes without getting hit.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if anyone disagrees with me.
I mean, he is useful in something. He's useful at the end of the game if you're winning.
That is true. I'll give you that, but
I know. Poor Joe, but fuck it.
By the way, on Saturday, December 21st, because I think I sent it to you, there will be 3 games that day. Texans at Buccaneers at 1 o'clock, Bills at Patriots at 4:30, and then at 8:15 Rams at the 49ers.
And the other two conflicts on Sunday.
Yes, we do know the Packers 49ers game has been moved to Sunday Night Football on the 24th. That's next week, week 12. The Eagles and Seahawks have been moved to an earlier game.
And on Fox, which will be the main game. Fox.
Buccaneers cornerback. Oh, what was the other one?
Let me go over the flex real quick. Panthers say flex CBS. The main game of CBS. And a random side note that Dolphins Browns got flex Fox. It should have been flexed to the local access channels.
I do agree with that. Staying with some topics that did affect some things this week, Buccaneers cornerback Vern Hargreaves, who was benched during the second half of Tampa Bay's win over the Cardinals, has been released.
Vern Hargreaves.
Yep.
I should say the name for now on.
Yeah, because I'm not good with reading names. Going through the rest of my things. Sorry, it takes a while for me to catch up, guys. I'm not the fast. My Facebook's slow, okay? But right now we can just sit here and think of, well, I have a lot. Okay, here it is. This is the clues that you guys will get for next week. If the Cowboys do lose to the Lions, you guys do get 2 songs I'm going to sing. Clue 1. The first song is one of my favorite ending theme songs for my favorite anime. of all time. Can you use your Jagan eye to see what it is? The second clue for the other anime song, it's from a newer anime, and if you've seen or been a part of my Mortal Kombat 11 videos, I say this star character a lot. Just look out for the ward and the fool. Those are your clues. Hopefully people actually read those and hear those correctly, because if not, you're an idiot. By the way, it was announced that rookie Dwayne Haskins will be the Redskins starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. Interim head coach Bill C. announced Monday. Case Keenum will be the backup, and Colt McCoy's the third string. Alright.
Okay, sorry to get murder over with. On the Redskins. He's just going to destroy his career before he even begins.
I was going to say the same thing about the Giants, because we need to talk before we get to the Giants and the Redskins and all that. Best and worst of this past week. Worst thing. Worst team of this past week. Got to be Cincinnati Bengals. That game was over at halftime.
Yep. As soon as I saw that pick six by Marcus Spears, I was like, yep, it's over.
So Bengals win the worst team of this past week. You agree with me on that one?
I kind of have another team in mind.
Alright, who's the other team?
This may be a personal grudge, but I have to say the Buffalo Bills. Honestly, I hate them. They're like the definition of a fucking bug team.
Okay.
They played like shit against the Browns. That was fucking dead.
I'll agree with you there.
I would go on about the Bills, but I'll do that later.
You do that later. Best team of this past week. I know Brad's going to be mad at me because I'm not going to say the Ravens, because but you played a bad Bengals team. I can't award that.
I can't even say that.
So my best team goes to the Packers. They beat a team who's actually still in the playoff hunt, and they actually looked good doing it. I could also say Minnesota could have won the best team of this past week, or even Seattle as well. So
I'm going to say the Vikings.
I can understand that. Those were probably the three best teams this week, who beat legit playoff contenders. Sorry, if you beat the Bengals, it's not you don't get applauded for that saying you're the best team. It's like if you're Alabama, Roll Tide, and you beat ECPI. I'm not going to award you for that. Most disappointing team of this past week. Now, this is for where they could even won or lost, but they were disappointing. For me personally, I'm going to say the most disappointing team this week were the Saints. You had probably the easiest game excluding Baltimore, and you choked. You laid a goose egg. Sorry.
I'm going to say Indianapolis because of the... if anyone else was starting at QB, they would have won. That wasn't an easy game to win.
Oh, you know.
All they needed was one score. Just one fucking score. And they would have won.
Oh, you know I was happy about them losing.
Yeah, I can tell by your text. Dolphins win. It's like you were a fan of them all of a sudden.
As God is my witness, they got a chance to make the playoffs, and that's no joke. They actually do have a chance, ladies and gentlemen. It's a small one, but for you Dolphins fans, apparently you guys have decided to give up on tanking and do something. But yeah, Dolphins would have to win out. They would have to win the rest of the way and get help from everybody. That's probably not going to... Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Choke artists. Kansas City. That should have been an easy win right there for them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was shocked when I learned. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to get a pick right. I got C1 too.
Yep.
I'm going to say the 49ers. They should have had that game easily. Because I don't care what people say. The 49ers kicker, I forgot his name.
He was a rookie. The rookie kind of...
I know. But if you... When the game's on the line... If you were able to make a kick before, you should be able to make another one in the same situation.
Yeah, I just think there was too much pressure on him, so I'm not going to leave him for it. That was...
But the thing is, he had a perfect game.
To that point,
Yeah. I was like, when I was watching that game, I was anticipating the miss. I'm like, this is where he's going to miss it. That was the kick that went to overtime.
Yeah, when
when Warriors were pushing down, Phil's like, no, this is the part where he's gonna choke.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. When he missed that kick, my first thought was, "Oh God, we're gonna have another game end in a tie."
I knew Seattle was gonna win at that point, so I was just like, "Fuck my life."
Hey, you still did better than me this week. And before we continue getting on to the other things, a sad goodbye to ex-wide receiver Charles Rogers, who passed away this past week at age 38. Kind of scary because I'm 31, so. And before I do my college thing, because I'm going to do the college thing after we do the playoff seedings. So here's how the seeding goes right now. We're going to start with the AFC, because I have that up on my phone from Facebook. Yay me. Patriots right now are still the number 1 seed at 8-1. They are the clear favorites right now at this point. I know Brad would disagree, but I'm sorry, they still got the better record than Baltimore. Yes, Baltimore did beat them, but if you look at the Patriots schedule, they do kind of have an easy rest of the way, so Ravens would kind of need help to get to this number 1. Ravens are the 2 seed right now. They do have the tiebreak over the Patriots, but they had to help the Patriots lose one more game. There's the problem. Texans are the 3rd seed. They actually benefited from the Dolphins' win, as now the Colts are kind of in trouble, and actually that loss for the Colts knocked them out of the wild card standing. Chiefs are still a 4th seed right now, mostly because everybody else is in trouble excluding Oakland. Bills are the 5th seed at the moment. All they got to do is win out and they actually make the playoffs. And the 6th seed is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got to give credit to Mike Tomlin. He actually has been able to keep him in the hunt. I got to tip my hat to him on that. The other teams still alive in the playoff hunt right now but need help. Raiders, as they're the 7th seed. Colts, Titans, Jaguars, Chargers are still in it but they need help. Broncos, Browns, and Broncos, Browns, Dolphins are on life support. If they lose one more game, that plug will be pulled. And the Jets and Bengals, well, they're eliminated.
Hey, Bengals can still make the playoffs.
Are you on crack?
Tank
in the tank? Yeah, because they still got a chance for that. They just got to see how bad the Redskins want to tank. We're going to head to the NFC now. So I'm pulling that up real quick on my phone. And Johnny, how's your day going today?
Decent. It was a fucking cold day.
Yeah, it was cold.
It was like 2 degrees here in the morning.
Whew.
Negative.
That's when you wear clothes. Because clothes are good.
Record low temperatures here. I mean, it's supposed to be like 23 to 20 degree lows and 40 degree highs, 7 to 1 degree highs.
Nice. Alright, here's the NFC. Niners are still the 1 seed, but Green Bay can catch them now, as Green Bay is only 1 game behind them. New Orleans is the 3rd seed right now, which they can still get the number 1 seed, but they kind of need to win out and get some help. Dallas, for the moment, my Cowboys are the 4th seed, as they are tied with the Eagles, but Dallas does have the better divisional record at 4-0. That is the only saving grace for my Cowboys at this point.
No, it's because of the fact they beat the Eagles. That's the only reason.
Well, yeah, that too, but, you know, the division also helps, you know. Thank God for that.
I mean, the Eagles still are undefeated against the NFC besides Cowboys loss.
Actually, they're 1-1 in the division.
That was against you, so...
Yeah. So, Dallas is going to have to beat them one more time, because I don't see the Eagles losing to the Giants or the Redskins. 5th seed is Seattle. They can win the division still. And Minnesota's the 6th seed at this point. Those two teams and they can still win their division as well. If you're the
top every conference.
Yeah, if you're the Rams, Philly, Carolina, Chicago, you need help. Now, Philly can still get in by beating Dallas in the division, but that's the only way I can see Philly getting in at this point. They're going to have to beat Dallas to win the division. The Rams and Carolina, they need to win out and hope Seattle or Minnesota falls. Chicago's not out of it yet, but they kind of in that limbo. Detroit, Arizona, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Giants, and Washington, they're out. They're not they're not making it. They're eliminated.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now, before we get to the picks, we do have one more thing to discuss because it happened yesterday, and that is college football playoff seeding. The committee did announce their top 4 this past week. Surprisingly, Alabama did not make the top 4, which I agree with. Unfortunately, I do disagree with the committee's top 4. They have LSU at 1, Ohio State at 2, Clemson at 3, and Georgia, who's lost 1 game, at 4th. Now, I know they're based on strengths of schedule, and wins don't really matter, because if they did, we know Baylor and Minnesota would be near the top. And again, that's, and the committee's been doing that. They don't really look at the and all that. So I do disagree though with the committee. My top 4, because I've been telling people I was going to do my top 4 today. I do have LSU and Ohio State and Clemson as the top 3 in that order. LSU, Ohio State, and Clemson. That I agree with. I just don't agree with Georgia, because to me, if you have a 0 in the loss column, that proves more to me than, oh, Georgia's got 1 loss, but they've played a tougher strength of schedule. I don't want to hear that. You play to win the game at the end of the day. If we're going to base it on who you've played and who this team played because, conference and outside conference, then I'm sorry. You need to make the playoff a little bit bigger. But with that being said, I think Minnesota is the 4th best team, as they are undefeated. They did beat Penn State. I would then probably put Baylor at 5, and then I would put Georgia at 6. That's just my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with me on the Minnesota part, but c'est la vie. Johnny, I know you don't watch college football that much, so
Just move on.
We're going to move on. So we get to go to the picks. Unless there was any other NFL news I may have missed.
Let me see. Oh my god!
What?
Guys, it's to return as coach 2020 for the Jets.
Oh god, Jets ain't doing nothing.
I know it's only 1 year so far, but he didn't do anything for the Jets. You made him more.
You made him worse. Oh, we did miss one thing. The Bengals did cut linebacker Brown after a $16.5 million deal in March. We did miss that.
Some team will pick him up.
Probably. But let's talk about the 2 things we need to discuss before the picks. The Redskins and the Giants. Redskins have announced they would be starting the rookie quarterback the rest of the way. We'll see how that goes. I'm actually okay. I'm okay for it just because of the fact of, let's see what he can do.
Yeah. I'm on the bandwagon that's saying, let's destroy his career right away. I know. I'm like the worst case scenario.
I don't think it's going to destroy his career right away. I think it's good to see what he can do. Because, he's going to be the starting quarterback next year. So let's just see what he can do the rest of this way and build from that. Because he can only go up. But heading to the Giants, their running back Barkley says he won't get shut down. Now, of course, he is dealing with another injury. And I'm going to say this. If I was the Giants, I would shut him down. You're not making the playoffs. You've been dealing with injuries all this season with a lot of players. Shut him down, let him heal up, and get ready for next season. If you don't shut him down and he gets hurt, he could miss next season, depending on what it is.
And the Giants are going to destroy him.
It could happen. I think the Giants just need to sit him down and say, hey, we want you healthy for next year. We're going to sit you out, let you heal up, and be ready for next year. Sometimes you have to do that. It's just the way it is. And if you agree or disagree, put in the comments below, and I will gladly listen to your reasoning and tell you if you're wrong or not, because it's my channel. And we'll go to hockey and basketball later. Oh, by the way, did you hear what happened yesterday in college basketball?
What about?
Let's see, how can I put this? Kentucky got upsetted by Evansville. Kentucky paid them $9,000 to play against them, and they got their ass stomped.
Really?
Well, they actually, they lost by a few points, but it was like a few points. But when you pay a team to show up and they beat you, you know, that's kind of funny. So I just like to point that out there. That kind of makes me feel good inside, you know, seeing Kentucky lose in basketball. It just makes me feel happy. But let's get to the picks now. Of course, well, let's see, Dark Knight. Anything can happen. It does depend on the Eagles' schedule as well. I don't think the Eagles can be trusted because they got a lot of injuries. There's way more injuries than us. I think that's what some people are forgetting. But thank you for commenting, Dark Knight. The Pittsburgh Steelers, after coming off a win and holding the 6th seed at the moment in the AFC, go to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Dark Knight says the Cowboys will lose to the Lions. I don't think that's going to happen. Have you seen how the Lions have played this year? Yeah, but right now in Pittsburgh and Cleveland, Cleveland needs this win to keep any hopes alive. Pittsburgh wins this. They can control their own destiny with the 6th seed, could possibly move up to the 5th seed depending on what happens with Buffalo. I'm going to pick the Steelers. I just think they are a better team overall than Cleveland. Even with, I know they're starting, you know, there's no Big Ben and all that, but Cleveland has been a train wreck most of this year and overhyped. And unfortunately, I'm one of them who overhyped the Browns this year. I can admit that. I was wrong. But I think Steelers just won this game.
This was a tough game for me to choose. But I think Cleveland's actually going to pull this one out.
Okay, so you got Cleveland, understood. Dark Knight says they lost to the Jets. What? Yeah. I hate to tell people this, and this is what I don't get with people and fans of sports in general. Sometimes the bad team does win a game. Okay, we just saw it in college basketball last night. Kentucky lost to a team no one's ever heard of. And the Saints lost to a bad Falcons team. Are we going to say the Saints are no longer Super Bowl contenders or playoff contenders? No. They had a bad game. It happens to everybody. Hell, the Patriots, they've lost to teams they should have beat easily. Remember last year with the Dolphins? The miracle play, I think it's called now, the Miami Miracle.
Yeah, the Miami Miracles were ruining their tank.
Yeah, so bad teams do win once in a blue moon. It does happen. Trust me, unless it's college football, and even because that's the only time it doesn't happen is college football for some reason, but that's another story for another day. When it comes to the pros, the bad teams do win. It's like, okay, my Baltimore Orioles, they were a terrible team this year. Guess what? They still won games. So, saying that they lost to the Jets is not a good reason to say Dallas will miss the playoffs. That's not a good reasoning. If we're going by that reasoning, the Saints would be eliminated from the playoffs right now because they lost to the Falcons. I'm just saying. I don't like people who use that reasoning. That's not good reasoning to me. Moving on, speaking of those Falcons, they head into Carolina as they take on the Panthers. Panthers coming off a tough loss to the...
You mean the Falcons?
Yeah, I said the Falcons who are traveling to the Panthers.
Oh, I thought you said the Saints, my bad.
No, I did say the Saints, but then I said speaking of the Falcons. It's alright. Falcons are heading to Carolina. Falcons surprisingly got a win this past week over the Saints. Panthers suffered a heartbreaking loss against Green Bay, but they did show heart in the end. Johnny, who do you got, Panthers or the Falcons?
I want to say the Panthers.
I agree as well. I think the Panthers are going to bounce back. I think Atlanta, it was their fluke win again. Remember, they beat an Eagles team, and we all thought back then, oh, the Falcons were going to run and just dominate, and well, they haven't. Falcons have been one of the bad teams this year, but again, sometimes a clock. What's the old saying? A broken clock is right twice a day. So there's your twice a day for Atlanta. Moving on, it is my Cowboys taking on the Lions. We know who I'm picking here. I'm picking the Cowboys. This is a bounce-back game for them, hopefully. They do need this win a little bit because the Patriots do come. They do face the Patriots next week, which is a very important game for the Cowboys, at least, depending on what happens with the Eagles this week and next week.
Cowboys are going to ball the Lions if Jeff just starts again.
Oh, yeah. Well, Matthew Stafford's already been. It looks like he would not be clear to play. Right now, it doesn't look like it. So it's probably it's going to be the backup for the Lions quarterback, who we saw did not play well against Chicago. Chicago's defense pretty much killed the Lions in that game. Moving on, we head to Indianapolis. A very interesting matchup here. The Jaguars take on the Colts. Jags are coming off their bye week. The Colts, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be yet. Plus, there's some kicking issues. Rumor is that they've been looking for a new kicker after this past Sunday's game. Johnny, who do you got?
I'm taking the Jaguars.
I'm taking the Jaguars as well. I just don't trust Indianapolis right now. Quarterback issue. Adam Vinatieri, who is a Hall of Fame kicker, he will be going in, but he's been playing bad this year. So, if it comes down to field goal kicking, I trust Jacksonville a whole lot more than I do Indianapolis at this point. Moving on, we head to Miami as the surprising 2-0 Miami Dolphins, who, by the way, they've actually been able to win 2 games. The Patriots have lost. Have not won in November yet, to my knowledge. I just want to make that joke. And they welcome the Buffalo Bills. Now, of course, Miami's been looking interesting. They have won the last 2 weeks when I've picked them to be the upset victors. Buffalo's been kind of going up and down this stretch the last few weeks. Johnny, do you believe in magic, or do you think the Bills stop the magic?
I don't like picking Bills games because I fucking hate the Bills. I mean, honestly, the Browns games just really prove who they really are, actually. It's not fluke. This is actually how they play. They play strong defense, yes. They can't do anything with it.
Because of the offense, and I've said that before.
This is why I don't like the Bills. It's like, their 6-3 record doesn't even matter to me, really.
Damn.
You can't beat the Browns team, then... I mean...
Wait a minute.
Even if they make the playoffs, they're not going far.
Didn't the Ravens lose to Cleveland?
Yeah, screw that loss. Mr. Jets.
Yeah, I know. You know me. Wait, who's 2-0? No one's 2-0, Dark Knight. I was making a joke how the Dolphins are 2-0 in the month of November, but the Patriots...
Just turn off the chat.
Patriots have not, okay? But so who do you got, Bills or Dolphins?
Leading up to today, I was going to pick the Dolphins, believe it or not, but I changed my mind. The Bills are going to win by like 4.
I got Buffalo as well. I have to hop off that magic train of Fitzpatrick. I just think the Bills' defense is way better than the Miami Dolphins' offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. The Bills have been disappointing. I do get you with there.
Plus, that week 4 was just a strange game. I mean, like you said before, everyone has a fucking bad game.
Yep. And
but with the Bills, they almost lost the Dolphins in week 7.
That's true.
They got blown up by the Eagles week 8. Which
that was also true. You did pick that.
And week 9, they kept the Redskins in for the longest period of time.
Yeah, they did. I'll give you that one. Bills have kind of had a weird last week.
That's why I couldn't pick Bills to beat the Browns. I felt like this is a game where the Browns are going to do something. That's how I felt like I got off my chest.
Bravo.
And also the Titans game, if they had a kicker, they would have won.
I agree with you there.
And the first game they won, they had to come back against the fucking Jets.
That is also true, they did.
Week 2, they played the Giants. Week 3, they barely won against the winless Bengals.
And then they got killed by the Patriots, but...
Alright, I'm sorry. That's my rant on the Buffalo Bills.
Do you feel better?
I hate them more than the Steelers now.
Okay, again, moving on. This was probably my hardest pick for this week because both teams are mirror images of each other. It is the Texans taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams have been playing pretty well. Both teams have pretty much the same philosophy on offense. Let the quarterback do what he does best, and we'll see how it goes from there. Yeah. The issue with this game is the defense. Now, the Ravens' defense is better due to the Texans having a lot of banged up on the injuries. So your question is going to have to be when making this pick, do you trust the Texans' defense to do what the Patriots could not do and stop the Ravens' offense? I mean, Ravens were using Jackson. They were using RG3. They were using the running back. They would destroy the Patriots on the running game. They did do well in the passing, but with Baltimore, it's more of a team that does a lot of running more than passing. Houston, kind of the same thing. These will be... I'm hoping the refs in this game don't blow the plays dead early because with both these quarterbacks, until they're actually on the ground, the play's not over. But I'm taking the Ravens here, I think, because it is in Baltimore. Yeah. Texans have not... Their defense has actually not been great since J.J. Wyatt went out. I think the Texans will still win their division, but at this point, I can't trust them defensively. Now, if their defense was healthy, I probably would have picked the Texans. But Texans' defense is not healthy. They don't have J.J. Wyatt. They traded the guy away a few weeks ago who's now in Seattle. So, but I think it's going to be the best 1 o'clock game of the week. I think this will be the best early game, no doubt about that. Oh, sorry if you hear my family, but Johnny, your pick?
Do I really need to say anything?
You're taking Baltimore.
Yeah. Let me draw my false hope of them making a first round bye.
Well, it could happen with the way the Chiefs and the Texans are playing.
If we beat the Texans out, that's going to be big.
It will be big. Moving on, we head to Minnesota as the Vikings, after coming off a win against Dallas, go up against a Broncos team who surprisingly did win with the rookie quarterback. But I think that stops here. I'm taking Minnesota at home.
I feel like this is somewhat of a trap game, but I think the Vikings still pull it out. Watch out. This game seems like a trap game.
Oh, it is. It's one of the one of the 3 trap games we got this weekend. Did
we already mention the other ones?
No, we have not yet. Surprisingly, we have not yet. But I do agree with you there. It's a trap game, but we both agree it's Minnesota. Now for the other end of the spectrum. Remember how I said the Texans and Ravens game I had a hard time picking? Because both teams have pretty much more images and they're both great, excluding maybe Texans defense a bit. This is the opposite end of that spectrum. With both teams, it's hard to pick, but both teams suck. It is the Jets taking on the Redskins. Another Tank Bowl. It's Tank Bowl mania running wild. Redskins starting a rookie quarterback. It is in the Redskins do have home field in this game, but I don't think that freaking matters at this point for them. Redskins look terrible. I know they're starting the rookie quarterback. The only good thing for them this year has been Adrian Peterson. He's been playing well. Jets, excluding their 2 wins, which you could make the argument they should have lost both because they let both teams come back, they have not looked well. This is really a case of and Redskins have an interim head coach. Jets have a head coach who probably is the worst head coach this year. You have Sam Darnold, who has been playing well, but I know he was out for a few weeks due to mono. Bell has not looked like the running back of old. The defense for the Jets kind of looks terrible. Redskins defense is terrible. Johnny, who do you have? Because and the sad thing is, this game is being shown in my area. I get to watch this. I get to watch this game if I want to Sunday.
Yeah, me too. Because of the fucking Jets.
Do you think I'm going to watch this game Sunday?
Absolutely.
No, I'll be watching the Cowboys game, but I might pay attention to this one just to see how bad the score is because of fantasy football.
The score is going to be 11-2.
Oh, if that happens, wait, who gets the 2 points?
The Jets.
So you're taking the Redskins.
Yep. Redskins with 11-2.
I am taking the Jets. I literally had a hard time picking this game.
Yeah, this game gave me a headache.
I couldn't find a reason to pick one or the other. It was literally like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Pick a tiger by its toe. Moving on to a game that was somewhat easier to predict, and it's not the trap game, because the next two games are the trap games to me. It is the Buccaneers at home taking on the Saints. Saints coming off a shocking loss to the Falcons. Bucks coming off a win over the Cardinals. I think the Saints turn it around and Saints win.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I saw the Saints struggling, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those games I see.
Yeah,
you can tell if the team's in a trap game, because that's definitely not how I see the Saints playing.
Yeah, I think that was just like a fluke game for the Saints to play bad. I think they bounce back. Now, I will say this: if the Saints lose this game, there's going to be some questions asked. But I don't see that happening. Moving to the late games of Sunday, the second trap game we have, it is the Arizona Cardinals on the road taking on the 49ers. Niners just coming off a loss on Monday. Cardinals coming off a loss this past week against Tampa. Now, the reason I say a trap game is because Niners are heavily favored. When I checked it this morning, they were favored by 11 points. So, I would be a little bit warned, guys, if you do make this pick. Because, Niners should win this game. It is a trap game, but this is my lock of the week. I am picking the Niners to win over Arizona. It is a trap game. I just think the Niners are a better team.
49. What game are we doing next?
Is the other trap game. WKRP Cincinnati.
No, you lost me.
Okay. It is the Raiders at home against the WKRP Cincinnati.
Was I just talking to myself and I was screaming?
Yes, you were, because I couldn't hear you for like a minute.
Okay, let me repeat myself. Let me start over. It's the Bungles and their circus act going to Oakland to take on the Oakland Raiders, who are surprisingly one of the better teams of the AFC. There you go.
All right. I'm taking the Raiders. I'm taking the Raiders here. I don't trust the Bengals to win at this point yet. I can't pick the Bengals. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not like I'm taking the Raiders. Screw it.
We might see some turkeys fly though. That if anybody gets that reference for Cincinnati. Moving on. This was a hard game for me because I don't really like either one of these two teams, but it's the Patriots on the road against the Eagles. Both teams coming off their bye week. Eagles do have some injuries though, as we've seen this year, particularly with the wide receiving core. Jackson, who's been out. The Eagles have not played well when he's out. He's probably out for the rest of the season. We actually talked about this, I think, last week with them. Patriots are coming off a loss to the Ravens, but I think the Patriots turn it around and Patriots win against Philadelphia. I just can't trust Philadelphia offensively at this point, or defensively. I think Patriots are the better team here. Granted, I know next week I'm not going to be able. We know who I'm picking in week 12 for the Cowboys-Patriots game. That one's obvious.
It's pretty realistic for me.
Yeah, that one's going to be free real estate for you and anybody else. I don't get that option, unfortunately. But Patriots, I think, win this week. If the Eagles do win, though, there's going to be a lot of questions for the Patriots because at least losing to Baltimore, you could say, okay, Baltimore was definitely the better team. They outplayed you on offense and defense. If you lose to Philly, though, if you're the Patriots, you're going to be asking yourself, what the hell are we doing? Because you should be able to easily beat the Eagles with their injuries. I think because of the fact of the only reason I could see Philly winning is maybe the Patriots are a little bit angry of that Philly special from a few years ago. But unfortunately, that was Nick Foles. You're not playing Nick Foles. You're playing against Wentz, who... I'm sorry. I've said before I don't think Wentz is a great quarterback. I think he's average. He's in that middle of the road where he can win you games, and if you have a good defense to back you up.
He is great. He is a great value brand of Nick Foles.
Yes. I did see that video, by the way, where Nick Foles is like, man, I don't know how it feels to be my backup blessing more than me. I don't know how this feeling. And then Gridiron Heights, yeah. And I saw the one for this week too, where the Bozo brothers beat up the.
All right, we're going to the next game.
Sunday night game.
The Bears and Rams.
This is hard because both teams have been disappointing. The Bears' defense is great, but their offense is terrible. Rams' offense hasn't looked as good this year, but their defense is still good. It is, and Finding just says 7. Okay. I didn't know. So I don't know. Well, technically, if you think about it, the 7 could be the Rams, but nah, because it kind of looks like an upside down L. So Finding just taking the Rams. I know he doesn't watch. This was a hard pick for me. So Johnny, who do you have in this game first?
This is my upset pick of the week. I'm taking the Bears beat the Rams.
You're kidding.
Yes. This is my pick.
That's your pick. Upset pick of the week is the Bears over the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. Guess what? We both have the same.
I fucking knew it.
It's the same.
No, it's screwed. I'm changing it.
No. Nope. We're both picking the Bears as our upset pick of the week. We can do that. We can do that.
No, that's illegal in my country.
We're both in the same country.
Nope. It's Browns over Steelers now for me. Fuck it.
Oh, God. I'm going to laugh if the Steelers win and the Bears win because you're going to be so pissed at yourself.
Screw it. It's worth
it. So, but you're still taking the Bears, though, right?
Yep.
Okay, but it's just my upset pick of the week. And next, it's the Monday night game. We're going to New Mexico. We're going to be eating some tacos and doing the Mexican head dance with the Chargers and Chiefs. Fania just said he's from New York. That isn't the same country. Both teams coming off a loss. Johnny, who do you have?
Chiefs. Chargers are just like. Do I even need to say it?
No. I'm taking Kansas. I'm taking Kansas City as well. I think it's a bounce back game for them. Chargers imploded on themselves after the way they lost to the Raiders. That's just the honest truth on that. But now it's time for everyone's favorite news sharing. We're gonna be going to hockey and the NBA for picks today.
Let me go over some standings. We'll do the NBA picks first.
All right.
Let me go over the standings real quick.
Go right ahead.
In the Eastern Conference, the number one is Boston at 8-1 record. Number 2 is followed up by Miami at 7-3. Number 3 is Milwaukee at 7-3. The Sixers are 7-3 at number 4. The Raptors are 7-3 at 5. And the Pacers are 7-4 at 6. But here's the funny part. The Hornets are number 7 at 4-6.
Yeah, I see that on mine as well. And then Cleveland.
Cleveland's 8-6. In the Western Conference,
wait! You forgot you forgot to say the most important thing, and this makes me so happy because Stephen A. Smith is angry about it. The New York Knicks suck. They're 2-9. Fuck you, New York.
They have the same record as Golden State, so that must mean they're good.
No, at least with Golden State, you can say that's injuries.
Just for the narratives. In the Western Conference, however, we got the Lakers in first, surprisingly, at 82.
Boo.
Yeah, boo. For me, too. Number 2 are my Jazz, 83, so go Jazz.
Congratulations.
Let's get in top 3. Rockets fall at 7-3. The Clippers are at 7-3. Then the Denver Nuggets are at 7-3. Then it's followed by the Mavericks at 6-4. And the Suns at 6-4, and the Timberwolves at 6-4, and it drops off from there. The Warriors are 2-9. Jesus Christ. Injuries just destroyed this team.
Yep. You know what the funny thing is? There's a chance the Sacramento Kings can make the playoffs. That's scary to me.
I mean, kind of.
All right, moving on to the games for the NBA today. My Mavericks have the day off, so that's a good thing there. So do the Jazz.
Yeah, the Jazz had to play two straight games. They came back to one against the Brooklyn Nets last night.
So we're going to start off with the first game's at 7 o'clock tonight. It is in Orlando as the Magic are at home taking on the 76ers. Johnny, who do you got?
I think the Magic actually pulled this one out.
I'm going with the 76ers. Up next is the Grizzlies on the road against the Hornets.
I think the Grizzlies do it again.
I agree with you as well. I haven't seen enough of the Hornets to know what's going on there. Finder just says he's a clone. Next, the Boston Celtics are at home at 7:30 tonight as they take on the loseless, crying Wizards. Celtics as well. At 7:30 tonight on ESPN, it is the Clippers going to Houston to take on the Rockets.
I'm going to take the Clippers here.
I'm going to take the Rockets. I think this will be a good game. Up next, it is the Timberwolves at home at 8 o'clock against the Spurs.
I'm going to say the Spurs.
I got Timberwolves. Up next, the 10 o'clock game on ESPN, which I'm sure they wish they could switch it to the Raptors Blazers, but no. It's the Lakers at home against the Warriors.
I read something a second ago. Anthony Davis was going to be resting for this game. So there's no point of even watching it.
Lakers win.
Yeah.
And then
the Warriors should be a G League team.
For this, but it's not their fault. At least with them, you can say it's injuries, unlike the Knicks.
Yeah, but it's just funny.
It is true. Last game for the night, it is the Raptors on the road against the Trailblazers at 10 o'clock. I got the Raptors.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Raptors. The Trailblazers are disappointing this year. Well, so far. Anything could happen, but...
Yep, and now we're going to go to hockey. Real quick.
Let me do the standings of that.
Go right ahead.
If I can have a load, okay, there we go. In the Eastern Conference, the Bruins lead the Atlantic with 26 points, followed by Montreal at 23, Florida at 23, Toronto at 22, and I almost said the Bills. Well, I said the Bills, but the Sabres at 20, and the Lightning, who are surprisingly underwhelming this year, are 18 points, followed by the Red Wings and then the Senators. In the Metropolitan, we've got the Capitals at 30, the Islanders at 25, Flyers at 22, the Penguins at 22, the Hurricanes at 21, the Rangers at 18, the Blue Jackets at 16, and the team I don't want to talk about, 14 points.
The New Jersey Devils.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I have the wild card playoff standings in front of me. In the Eastern Conference, it's Boston, Montreal, and Florida. In the Metropolitan, it's Washington, Islanders, and Philadelphia. Your wild card teams are the Pittsburgh Penguins and Toronto.
Well, thank you for the backup. For the Western Conference in the Central, the Blues lead with 28 points, followed by the Colorado 24, to the Nationals 21, and Winnipeg 21. Then it goes down to 18 with Dallas followed by 60 points by the Blackhawks and the 13 points by the fucking Wild. And then the Pacific, the Edmonton Oilers are leading that division at 26 points. Then the Coyotes at 24. Then the Canucks at 23. And the Flames at 23. The Golden Knights at 21. The Anaheim Ducks at 20. The Sharks at 17. And last but not least, the Kings, ironically, are at 13.
Yep, and in the playoffs...
I'll let you finish before I discuss.
In the playoff situation, in the Central, the Blues are the #1 seed overall, with Colorado and Nashville And the wild card team for that is Winnipeg, I believe. And in the Pacific, it is Edmonton at number 1, Arizona at 2, Vancouver at 3, and the Calgary Flames at the wild card. Oh, Canada!
What the hell's up with the 3 Pacific teams leading the top 3 teams in the Pacific? Edmonton, Arizona, and Vancouver.
Drugs.
What the hell?
It's 2019, the year of stupidity in sports. By the way, fuck the Kings. They're the worst hockey team in the league.
Hey, they're somehow worse than us.
Well, at least my Penguins are still alive in the wild card. Alright, so to the games tonight. Hey, it's your New Jersey Devils. They have a game at 7 o'clock against the Senators.
Oh, yes! Hockey edition.
You are New Jersey's favorite right now.
Screw it. I have to take New Jersey either way.
I'm going to take the Devils just because at least they sound like a hockey team unlike the Senators. Up next, it is the Islanders taking on Toronto Maple Leafs.
I'm going to take the Islanders.
Well, for my buddy Heartless, oh Canada, I'm taking the Maple Leafs. Up next, it is the Flyers at home against the Capitals.
NBC Sports Network broadcast.
Yep, at 7:30.
I might watch that. I think the Capitals.
I unfortunately will go with the Capitals as well. At 9:30 on ESPN Plus, it is the Dallas Stars taking on the Flames of Canada.
I'm going to take the Stars here.
I'm going to take Canada, because why not? And then the last game tonight, which is also on NBC Sports at 10 o'clock, it is the Blackhawks going up against the Golden Knights.
I'm going to take the Golden Knights.
I will also take the Golden Knights. So there's all you need to know for hockey, basketball, and the pros this week. And of course, my top 4 in college football. We will see you for week number 12 when we discuss those, but don't forget, week 12 does have a few things switched around, so even though I don't want week 13, I want week 12, we will be discussing the Packers-Niners game early. But remember, that got moved to a night game. The night game was originally supposed to be the Seahawks at the Eagles. Hey, the Ravens got a Monday night game next week.
Oh, yeah, that's my birthday game.
I hope for your birthday you wish for a win.
Yeah.
And then, of course, week 13, which would be Thanksgiving. Cowboys are at home against the Bills. So, and the Ravens have the 49ers. And that week.
The 49ers game should be plus 425.
It might be. It might be. I don't see the Sunday night game getting switched that day.
The 4 o'clock game is getting switched. It's going to require a network switch, but I'm pretty sure they'll pull it off.
And week 14, the Cowboys are the Thursday night game again. The Ravens against the Bills in Buffalo. Oh God,
we need to win this game.
Mark your dates for that week, folks. For week 14 picks, Johnny's gonna want to blow up the city of Buffalo. Your week 15. Hey,
6 hours away from it.
Week 15, you got the Jets.
I'm no threat.
You got the Jets that week in week 15, so that's a win.
And you have to take on the Rams that week.
Yeah, that should be it. No, week 15 we take on the oh, wait, we do take on the Rams. What the? Wait, the game's disappeared from my Madden game. Oh no. Oh, there it is. Week 16. There's no Thursday night game. The
Saturday night.
Yeah, because they did announce that, but Madden hasn't showed it up yet. You know how Madden is. Cowboys had the Eagles that week. Your Ravens.
Yeah, we played Browns.
Yeah, I do have a feeling that Sunday night game is going to stay. And then in week 17, we don't know what the Sunday night game is going to be.
Really? You're going to say the Bears stay?
Yeah, because if they're still in the playoff hunt by that point.
But who do you I think the only two games I can see getting flexed in there are the Saints at Titans or the Panthers at Colts.
Yeah, because if they're still in the playoff hunt by that point.
I think the only two games I can see getting flexed in there are the Saints at Titans or the Panthers at Colts. And week 17, week 18, week 19, week 20, week 21, week 22, week 23, week 24, week 25, week 26, week 27, week 28, week 29, week 30, week 31, week 32, week 33, week 34, week 35, week 36, week 37, week 38, week 39, week 40, week 41, week 42, week 43, week 44, week 45, week 46, week 47, week 48, week 49, week 50, week 51, week 52, week 53, week 54, week 55, week 56, week 57, week 58, week 59, week 60, week 61, week 62, week 63, week 64, week 65, week 66, week 67, week 68, week 69, week 70, week 71, week
The only other one I could see getting put in there, which I know this will piss Brad off, is Cowboys and Eagles, because that would pretty much be for the division title at that point.
No, it's going to stay at 425. It's going to get protected by Fox.
Yeah, good point.
Like,
so those are the picks.
And then week 17, of course.
We won't know until
Ravens and the Redskins at Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't see neither one. I don't see the Cowboys ending Sunday night in week 17. Maybe Baltimore, but we'll see. But
I mean, that's an interesting game.
Should be. But we will see you for week number 12 next week.